What is going on, everybody? So I decided I'm gonna bring this one back to you tailgate turf talk style. We're gonna get into probably one of the most important applications that you can make, especially if you're new to lawn care or if you're a seasoned vet. This will still apply. So we're gonna get into it and talk about pre-emergence. First, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to the Grass Factor, Matt Martin, and that whole team over there for inspiring me to do a little bit of extra research on this topic and a lot of the information that they provide in their content over there. So go over there and check them out if you want more information. They're also doing a fundraiser right now with St. Jude, who I've been supporting for a number of years with my fraternity. So if you want to make a charitable contribution, I'll leave the link down in the description. You can go over there and make that donation as you feel. So let's get into this video and kind of talk about some pre-emergence and why they may not be working for you. So let's get into it, see if we can knock this video out. Pre-emergents, what are they? Pre-emergents are classified as a herbicide. And the thing is they are different classes of those herbicides. So hold on to that point because we're gonna get to that towards the end of the video of why that is important. When you put down a pre-emergent, what you're doing is preventing the establishment of those weed seeds or any other seed, including your grass seed that you may be trying to put down this spring. It does not stop the germination of that seed, but it does stop the establishment of it. So weed seeds will still germinate, they just will not establish and they'll die before you actually get to see them, which is what the goal is, to have a weed-free lawn. So you want to take that into account. Most of the pre-emergents out there that we typically use, the most common ones, which are dithiopyr, dithiopyr, or prodiamine, they are root pruners. So we have to keep that in mind as we're making our application rates and when we're going to be using those pre-emergents. Hence, if you're planning to do a spring seeding, pre-emergence is not the route that you want to go if you're trying to establish that seed. So when it comes to how you apply your pre-emergence, you've got a couple of different options. You can go with the granular or you can go with the water dispersible granular, which I'm gonna call your liquid option. So I put up a poll on my IG page and also on the community page here on YouTube, just to poll you guys and see how you are going to be applying your pre-emergent. The results that I got wasn't very surprising, but hey, I was like, it's a good way for me to engage with the community. So a lot of you are going with a prodiamine granular, and I definitely understand why, and it makes sense because one of the benefits of that is, hey, it's convenient. You can get it at your local big box store for the most part. And you also can use a spreader, which most of you already have, to put out your fertilizer, and you don't need any additional equipment. So those factors are very convenient for the average homeowner. And I get it. So some of the cons or downsides to using a granular that I see is not being able to control the actual rate or amount that you're going to be putting down as much as the liquid. When you're using the liquid, you can actually go in and really dial in those rates that you want to apply and how much coverage you want to have. Either one of these methods will work, so you can go down with either one, but one of the advantages to being able to use a liquid is you can also mix in other products along with that. Say you already have some weeds coming up, you can actually mix in one of your post-emergent herbicides, and then in that rate you are also getting pre-emergent is going down and you're actually attacking those weeds that are already existing. You all know I like using Speed Zone in this early season for cleaning up most of your broadleaf weeds, which is what you'll see. That is something that I recommend you doing as you go down with your pre-emergent early this season. All right, now let's get into the good stuff. So which one do you go down with? Do you go down with prodiamine, also known as barricade, or do you go down with dithiapyr, also known as dimension? Which one do you go down with? All right, let's start with the most common, prodiamine. Most of us are going down with prodiamine. There are a lot of benefits of using it. It's cost effective. It's easy to get your hands on, very convenient to pick up at your local big box. And also it has typically a longer coverage of the pre-emergent properties in it. So let's talk about some things that you may not know about prodiamine. Prodiamine it typically tends to stay in that upper level of the soil. It's not very mobile in your soil. It also does not move a lot with water. So it's not as impacted by the rainfall or the amount of water that you're putting down. It's more so broken down by solar or sunlight. So those are some things that may not be known about prodiamine. So if you have a sandier soil type, low CEC, like mine, prodiamine may be a good option for you to go down with and have a little less impact of it getting deeper into your root zone and impacting those roots of new plants that you're trying to establish or your existing root zone. So not to say that it won't have any impact on them. We know they are root pruners, but maybe you reduce that chance just a little bit. So now let's get into dithiapyr. So one of the benefits is you get some post-emergent herbicide characteristics in that along with your pre-emergent. And if you're able to go down with this a little later in the season, maybe temperatures got away from you, life started happening, you were a little late getting your pre-emergent down, dimension may be the option for you to go with. It is a little more expensive than prodiamine. So another thing to consider there as you're looking at these two herbicides and which one you're going to be going down with. So make sure you're getting your application rate spread down properly when you are making these applications. All right, so you remember that point that I told you to remember about the classes of herbicides similar to those of fungicides? So let's think about fungicides. They say to rotate them, right, and use different classes and different modes of action. The same goes for your herbicides. Prodiamine and dithiapyr are actually in the same class. They have the same mode of action. So if you are rotating between prodiamine and dithiapyr, you are not actually using a different mode of action. They are in the same class. So what that means is the plants are able to start to build up a resistance. And this is known to be occurring with a reoccurring use of those same herbicides. So I will recommend you go over to the Grass Factor over there on their channel. Matt really gets into the details of this. We want to start combining those different modes of action. And he kind of talks about the ones that work best, especially if we have cool season lawns. So I'm gonna recommend you go over there and check that out. I'll leave a link to that video. He goes into a lot of the detail, which I won't hear, but I want to make sure that you're aware that you need to start combining different modes of action, and switching between prodiamine and dithiapyr really isn't doing it for us. So the next thing is I want to start cautioning about the application rates that you're going down with for your pre-emergence. There is a yearly rate. So as we look at it, you want to look at how much coverage you need to have before you actually get ready to do your fall overseeding, and think about those rates that you need to go down with. I tend to stay on the lower end of that. I'm okay if I have a little bit of breakthrough that comes through just before overseeding time. You can come through, easily clean those weeds up right before you get ready to overseed, making sure you're outside of that window of the seeding, and it's not a problem. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Make sure that you're paying attention to those label rates and everything, and you're getting out there and getting that pre-emergent down to prevent those weeds in your lawn this year. All right, y'all, as I always say, just know we work.